Hi, my name is Nova Knox, and today I will be talking about microplastics and nanoplastics in our environment. So, every day, all of us are constantly eating, breathing, drinking, and absorbing tiny plastic particles known as microplastics or nanoplastics. When plastic breaks down, it just turns into smaller and smaller pieces of plastic. And because of this contamination, we all have these plastics in our bodies. Pollution has always been something I've been very interested in, and plastic pollution is huge and is colonized our entire earth, but is getting worse. Because of this epidemic, I have become very aware of the downfalls of our plastic use, and I would like to spread awareness. Microplastics and nanoplastics have colonized every part of the planet because of the overproduction of plastic and its wide uses. So, today I will be talking about what exactly defines microplastics and nanoplastics and what's the difference between them. And then we're going to talk about consumer items with high concentrations of micro and nanoplastics, and these are purposefully made micro and nanoplastics. And then lastly, we'll talk about primary sources of nano and microplastics from degradation of products. So, microplastics and nanoplastics that are being created from the degradation of a large piece of plastic instead of just being created. First and foremost, I would like to talk about the definition of micro and nanoplastics and describe the difference between the two. Micro and nanoplastics are the product of the degradation of plastic or are purposefully made to put in consumer items. The difference between the two is their size. Microplastics are defined as less than 5 millimeters in length. Nanoplastics are much smaller, ranging from 0.1 micron in length and smaller. And this is according to a study from Malaysia called The Impact of Microplastics and Nanoplastics on Human Health, and it was published in Nanomaterials. Secondly, I would like to talk about the products we consume on a day-to-day basis that contain purposely made microplastics that we're consuming. Nano and microplastics are found in the air and the water, but they are purposely put in products such as a filler or an exfoliant. This would include toothpaste, face wash, lotions, and makeup. Corporations add microplastics as cheap filler and exfoliants, and a study done in India found that commercial branded toothpaste ranged from 0.2% to 0.9% in weight in weight of plastic. So 0.9% of the weight was just plastic, or 0.2 to 0.9. And this study was called Extraction Identification and Environmental Risk Assessment of Microplastics in Commercial Toothpaste, and it was published in Chemosphere. Thirdly, I would like to talk about a large contributors to the degradation of micro and nanoplastics into our environment. Primary sources of plastic degradation in our environment are mainly, there's a lot, but two big ones are tires and the washing of synthetic fibers, like synthetic clothes, cheaper clothing like polyester and nylon. So basically, when we drive our cars, our tires wear down over time, and your tires go bald and you have to buy new ones, right? But when they're wearing down, they're releasing thousands and thousands of tiny plastic particles into the air that we end up breathing. A study in Germany found that tire wear significantly contributes to the microplastic pollution in our air. This study was called Tire Abrasion as a Major Source of Microplastics in the Environment, and it was published in Aerosol and Air Quality Research. As for laundry, when you wash synthetic fibers such as polyester and nylon, a study in Portugal estimated that for a 6-kilogram load, roughly 18 million synthetic fibers are released on average, the fibers ranging from being microplastics to nanoplastics. And this study was called Microplastics in Wastewater, Microfiber Emissions from Common Household Laundry, and was published in Environmental Science and Pollution Research. So, to summarize what we learned today, or maybe refreshed on if you already knew, Microplastics and nanoplastics are very small particles of plastic. Some of them degrade from larger pieces of plastic, and some are intentionally made to be put into consumer products. We can find nano and microplastics everywhere because of the degradation of plastic and its overproduction. Plastic has colonized the entire earth. And this is something to think about as something that seems so out of our control, is with micro and nanoplastics being out of our control and so rampant in our environment, how do we start gaining control? Thank you so much, and I hope that learn stuff or thinking about stuff.